Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of New to Weeaboo. This is number 28 for August 26, 2020. I am Nemesis and I am joined by Alcatraz.
Hey.
Yes, once again, yep, more anime stuff as
what
usual.
Else we do here? This is an anime channel.
This is all about anime. In the world of anime, let's see, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, that was one thing I totally forgot to mention last time, which is it's been roughly a year since the Kyoto Animation got the arson attack.
Yeah.
And they also canceled their usual award thing because I don't blame them for this one. They did a thing where they would let people submit ideas and stuff, and the winner would often be turned into an anime. And they stopped doing that because the person who burned down the place, well, apparently he was someone who's rejected multiple times. Yeah, I could see why you'd want to do it again.
Yeah.
And the other big thing, I guess, is Love Live, the Aqua's tours for their anniversary their 6th Dome tour has been canceled entirely. They were trying to do a more remote streaming thing, and they canceled it outright, I guess. But, yep, that's some of the big stuff, I guess, happening. Oh, because there's also the discourse that we totally stumbled into somewhat. Apparently, Uzaki-chan has inspired quite a bit of talk on Twitter and other places.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Yes, it has.
Well, not it. Someone says she.
Yes, she.
The anime itself is not relevant. It's her.
Yes. She's not a minor, but she sure kind of looks like one.
It's just say it's a complicated thing, and let's just say there's a lot of I'll just say there's definitely some bad takes out there.
Oh, there's always bad takes,
and
but,
and a lot of it comes from people who don't really seem to know anything. They decide they see something they must defend or attack depending on whatever.
Yep.
So
yep.
Yeah.
Reminds me of one of the sort of mantras I've come to know. Nothing is as simple as you want it to be.
No, it's very complicated.
Yes, especially when you're dealing with people.
Yep.
People are messy.
But anyway, we're not here to talk about that as much as some might want to hear our take already. I don't want to. But we're talking about another anime. We talked about it. I mentioned it last week. We're talking about Hinamatsuri. That this anime came out in early 2018, so it's only about 2 years old, a little over. It's based on a manga that's at this point, I believe, actually might be done. I'm not sure. It's according to Wikipedia, it says just the manga runs 2010 to 2020. Usually it would say 2010 to present if it's still going, but I don't know. It might have finished this year. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
And of course, the anime only covers a chunk of the manga because that's how they do things. They want you to watch the anime so you get interested and then read the manga because that's where they make the real money.
That and merchandising.
That merchandising, yep. But yeah, so this anime is more or less it's about a Yakuza guy named Yoshifumi Nita. He's a Yakuza. He just kind of doing his own thing. He's got an interest in pots and whatnot. Not
vases. Vases.
Whatever. Vases.
Those were
pots.
Vases. Get the.
Whatever.
You got to get it right. If you're that kind of interested, you got to get it right.
I'm not that interested, so I don't care. But anyway, he's got an interest in that stuff. And then one day, just a girl just materializes in his living room and hits him on the head on the way in, and in some weird pod thing. And then her name's Hina, and she just kind of more or less invades his life and the life of those around him, and weird shenanigans ensue.
Yes, shenanigans.
Because also she turns out she has psychic powers.
Yep. Psychokinetic.
Yep. So yeah, this is very much it's a comedy. It's slice of life. It's comedy. And I also find it generally really funny.
There's a lot of really funny parts to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so those are the two main characters, Nita and Hina there, and of course they're joined by other people. There's Anzu, who's too pure for this world.
Anzu must be protected and cherished. She's
too pure. And then there's Satomi, who is just being her suffering.
Poor Satomi.
Yep. There's a bartender named Utako. She's a strange woman. Nita had a bit of a crush on her, but kind of that got over that when she turned him down. And there's a brief girl who shows up briefly named Mao, but we'll get into that in a little bit later. And so on and so forth. There's a bunch of Yakuza guys, and well, they're just random people. And there's also the Yasan, who's a homeless person who took Anzu in because of circumstances, and so on and so forth. It's a weird setup, and partially, I think the thing about this one is, I think a problem with it is just the way it kind of dumps you into the manga stuff. Well, I'm pretty sure the manga probably starts the same way, which is the in media res, which just kind of starts you off, hey, what, and then snaps you back 3 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
The first scene is not chronologically in order.
Yeah, you see the first scene, you see some redheaded girl just beating the crap out of a bunch of dudes with some wooden doll thing or something, and then we snap to 3 years earlier.
Yep. And
someone completely different.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't show up to like episode 8.
And not again till the end.
Yeah. So like, in that one thing, another thing is the way it ends is kind of very odd because it feels very tacked on, because it's like, oh, we're just going to tack this bit on, and then yeah. It's a little weird in that regard because it's just,
it is.
The way it ends, it just feels kind of tacked on. So it's like, what? Oh, that's very much. This is a very, very blatant. Read the manga.
Read the manga, which I kind of want to.
Yeah, I want to kind of read it as well.
I mean, kind of like you kind of give it crap for doing some weird thing that's weird, just an anime thing, just so it tries to make you watch or read the manga. But it also kind of works. So can you give it that much crap?
Yeah, the majority of it doesn't involve that stuff. So it's weird if you cut out like that first bit in the last half of the final episode, and pretty much most of the good chunk of that one, like episode 8 or 9. I can't remember which one exactly.
It was 9.
It was 9. Yeah, if you cut out a large chunk of those, you pretty much have got a fairly self-contained slice of life thing. Although there's also a lot of little hints dropped throughout of there's a lot more going on that you don't know about. Yeah, if you cut those little pieces out, then it's like it feels a little more contained.
Yeah,
but
yeah, those
are the hooks to kind of get you to read the manga.
Yeah, without that, let's just go there because I keep kind of beating around the bush on Mao. I wanted more.
Yeah,
she's really as far as the character rankings and like which ones, Mao is probably the most interesting to me.
Yeah.
As far as she's really interesting. I really wish I got to see more. But, of course, we don't. That's kind of the whole thing, I guess. She's there at the very, very beginning, the first scenes, which is actually just a duplicate of the last episode, piece of the last episode. And then she's there in episode 9. She shows up and has her thing there, and then you never see her again.
Until the
last episode.
Second half of the last episode.
Yeah, the second half. But I wanted to see so much more. Yeah, I really like that character.
Yeah.
At least from what I saw.
More often in the manga.
Probably. It's like,
Because he also drops things around throughout the series of like, hey, there's way more going on. There's stuff that you don't know about, but we're going to tell you, give you just enough to let you know there's something going on.
The entirety of the quote organization.
Yep, because Hina literally drops. She's like in some silver egg-shaped thing, drops on Nita's head, and then kind of is on the. That's actually one of the things that lets you know that this is going to be a comedy, because she drops on his head, and she's lying there on the floor, and she asks, and he just looks at it and goes, "Nope," and just I'm not going to deal with that, and just walks off and goes to bed. Comes back, oh, you're real. Then lets her out, and just kind of more or less takes her in and takes care of her, and also finds out she has psychic powers in the process.
Yeah, I think finds out she has psychic powers, and it takes her in more because he's afraid.
A little bit, but after a while, he's less afraid of her.
Yeah, the fears. It's almost like reverse Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
She just shows up and kind of decides this is going to be your home now.
Yeah. Because I'm not sure if she was exiled or she voluntarily chose to leave her world. Because it's this whole thing that seems like there's a whole parallel universe. Everyone else is talking about. It's like she knows about Japan and everything. So it feels like either there's some parallel universe going on or whatever.
I didn't get much parallel universe. I think it's just more like a secretive organization.
No, because they talk about this whole there's a whole thing with this one of the people.
Oh yeah, this destroyed city.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's something Nita would know about, right? And people would know about if the whole city was just wiped off the face of the earth.
Unless it was a remote city, I don't know.
But everything
they don't say.
Everything seems to indicate this is some sort of other world of some sort. Or possibly
or
time
something.
travel. Because one of the things that blatantly referenced Terminator as well in that first episode.
That's just a funny thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because Nita actually got himself caught in the pod, and then Hina decided not to let him out. And of course, he really needs to use the bathroom, but well. And then when she finally lets him out, it's in a cloud of yellow steam. Oh.
Yeah. Also, the pod destroys your clothes.
Yep.
So yeah, pops out and he's all hunched over, completely naked, steaming.
With meanwhile, music, very
Terminator.
familiar sounding music. And then she just says Terminator.
Terminator. In case you didn't get the reference.
Yep. Did you get it yet? Yeah, it's just kind of strange how that it's this whole thing is like she then Anzu shows up because she's another psychic girl who's sent to go after her and more or less kill her, and turns out Hina's really, really powerful.
Yes.
But the bad job, I guess she can't control her powers very well.
Although she does seem to exhibit fairly decent control.
Yeah.
Except for the one time when she apparently has to use them, or they go out of control.
Which makes me wonder if they're just not letting her use them, and that's what caused the city to get destroyed.
Or, I don't know, maybe they're also tied to, emotional outbursts.
It could be that too. There's someone else who got sent after Hina. She showed up and she's clearly terrified of Hina.
Kai?
Yeah.
Ikaruga?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, security chief. Shows up and is absolutely terrified. Has to go through a checklist.
Yeah,
that was episode 8.
Apparently Hina is, apparently she's not considered a good person over in this other place.
Right, we haven't mentioned their personalities.
Yeah, because
Hina's
very laid back, lazy, expects other people to do things for her.
She's
also always hungry.
Her personality type, she's very... there's a term... I want to say there's probably a term for that. But she's also very deadpan and almost emotionless.
That's often... That's somewhat the kudere.
Except that, no less the dairy part.
Cute part? Oh, she's cute sometimes.
The way she interacts with others as well is more like she just has never... She doesn't give much thought, and she's never really had to deal with things. She's very ignorant of the world, for one. Like someone who's been locked in a cage their entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when she starts out, she has almost no real personality to speak of, because it's just deadpan.
I just followed orders.
Emotionless. Yeah, you can put almost emotionless, deadpan, no real expressions. And that's something that you actually see throughout the anime, is that she begins to develop a personality. Although it's still a lot of time fairly deadpan and stuff. Yeah. You can see there's little subtle things and such. And it's like she starts to realize that as well. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, the very thing is, but still, she's very much just someone who just sleeps in class.
Yep.
Plays lots of video
care
games.
In the world.
Likes Ikura.
Yep.
That's just red caviar.
Yep. Absolutely loves it.
Nita, yeah, he's the thing. He's like, if you've ever played the Yakuza games, then he's kind of similar to Kiryu in that he's supposed to be big old crime dude, and then he's actually turns out to be a really nice guy who cares about others and stuff. So it's like much to the consternation of one particular reporter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to do a TV interview of this hardened Yakuza criminal and see what it's really like, and turns out he's just a nice guy. It's like, crap, I can't use this, so I have to fake it.
Yep. Yeah, because the whole thing was, it started off was he was told to go take care of someone, and he's like sitting there, oh, I'm probably going to die. And then Hina's like, is that the enemy? Yeah. Hold on. She just goes and takes care of it for him.
That was a really interesting scene. I think that was a real turning point
Yeah.
for those two's relationship as well. Yeah, It happened really early because Hina wasn't supposed to be there.
Nope.
Kind of snuck along and was Hina was just basically expecting orders to go and do it.
Yep.
Apparently that's what she was used for.
Yep, that sort of thing, which is...
That's what they're implying, is
child
she was
soldiers.
A weapon.
Woo!
Yep, she was a weapon.
Because they were in middle school, by the way.
Yes. But Nita didn't do that. And it's like, no, this isn't... this is not something you should be doing. And that kind of struck Hina in a certain way.
And she
made a realization. It's like, oh, that's what's like, well, I'm going to do it anyway, but she did it under her own authority. Yeah. You can definitely tell there was a change in her personality at that point.
Yep.
Something clicked. It's like something snapped, but with good connotation.
Yeah.
Something clicked at that point for Hina.
Yeah. So, yeah, Anzu she showed up and she like took out a biker gang by herself and just sold her clothes. Give me your clothes. And then she's just kind of trying to find Hina. No, hey, look, Hina found her.
Yeah. Well, the Yakuza found her and got to Nita, and Nita took Hina to her.
Kind of to try to make sure that, they don't, because kind of Nita, in a moment of realizing this is going to go bad if he just lets it, play out.
Let him duke it out.
Makes it into just a bit of a game of rock, paper, scissors. And Hina wins, and Nita takes care of Anzu for a little bit, washes her clothes for her, then lets her, and Anzu's going to leave. But the thing is, apparently these little red ball things that they use for these little capsules, if they get wet, they get damaged. And they got accidentally washed with, when Nita washed her clothes. So when she tried to leave,
it didn't work.
And she's too proud to go back and say that something went wrong. Nope, can't do that. So she just ran around and hid, and she became homeless and wound up shacking up with a bunch of homeless guys. They built her a little shack and everything, literally shacking up.
Yep, literally.
Built her shack and taught her how to survive, by, gathering cans and all this stuff. And that really affected her because she was very tsundere and kind of demanding. She was
initially hot-headed.
Yeah,
and then she
mellowed out because she got, put in a low point.
Yep.
And then she became
realized
pure
the value of hard work
and good. And she got eventually the homeless people had to leave because the police were coming. And she got adopted by a family who runs a Chinese restaurant, the Hayashis.
Yep.
And she's just she likes to help them out. She had she's like blown away by about $50 blows her mind.
Yeah. When she has to work basically all day for like $6 or $7. Yeah. And then just
here you go.
What? Yeah. She learned the value of money.
Yeah.
And hard work.
And also, at the beginning, I like to do it. Nita and Hina's relationship is still kind of weirdly weird at times because, like, Nita seems to want to get rid of Hina at times, but other time he's very protective of her. So it's like, it's kind of an odd one. Like there's a bit where he thought she was going home because that other person showed up to get her, and he's going to celebrate, and she has to walk back because, turns out she can't because
the ball was missing.
Yep.
Because Nita accidentally activated it that one time that we were talking about, got pissed off at it and threw it away.
Yep. So he was celebrating, and then she comes back and sees him celebrating, and then, not cool.
Not cool.
And then he had his head wishing that, he's so upset at the Hayashis because they get to have Anzu and he's stuck with Hina.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Because he got to take care of her for like a weekend.
Yep.
And just tried to break her.
Tried to break her and
reveal her true nature.
Her true nature, because she's not supposed to be such a good kid. Because last he had seen, She was a hot-headed.
Yeah. Also, Hina's a selfish brat, and so he just all children are like that.
Also, especially all children from that organization.
Yep.
They must all be like that.
But nope.
And it didn't work.
She's a good kid.
Couldn't break her. She's just that great.
And because she's like, I'm not, have to have fun with, have to have fun together. And he's just like, Yeah, it's a weird thing there.
Anzu is precious and must be protected.
Yeah, so Anzu goes through a major character change right there in the
over
the course of the anime.
Becoming homeless.
Yeah, and then getting to adopt into a family and kind of learning that, kind of adjusting the fact that, she doesn't really have to worry about shelter and food anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And, she gets an allowance. So what does she do? She wants to buy, sure, she doesn't know what to do with it because, that's why should I do that? That costs money.
Well, I like her first real reaction to getting that. She lifts her floorboard up and sticks it, hides some money under there.
Yep.
Like hiding it in a mattress.
Yep. But then she gets the idea, she's given the idea to buy her parents a present.
Yeah, because Hitomi, which we still haven't really talked about that much about,
Hitomi,
you can buy things with it. What do you want to buy? And every single thing is like, but I don't need that. I could just get this instead. I could do this cheaper thing instead. I don't really need all that because she's so used to, saving money and getting only the absolute minimum that luxury items are just
obscene
and appalling. It's like, I don't need this. Why would I get that? Why would I spend that much on something like this? No. And finally, what's that? Oh, it's a present. Oh.
Yeah, and so she wants to want to get her parents a back massager thing, and then it's a little too expensive, and Tomi's like, I'll just give you the difference, and then, what's his face?
Sabu
shows up, because he's part of the Yakuza, and he's Nita's underling.
Yeah.
And he shows up as like, you shouldn't do that, because that's improper to give a gift that you didn't totally, buy yourself. Then takes her to the racetrack.
And gets her to start betting.
And of course, then leads her down a terrible road. Because initially she wins very big, makes a
really big win.
It's like $450.
Yeah.
But then, nope, she's then penniless because he just. And then she winds up just giving her parents coupons so that she could just give them the massages herself, because Hitomi tells her it's more important that the feeling behind the gift is more important than the actual gift.
Yep.
And speaking of Hitomi, though.
Speaking of Hitomi, yeah,
Hitomi is suffering. Being Hitomi is suffering. Because she can't. The problem is, her big problem is she can't say no.
She can't say no. And what's kind of good and bad at the same time is she has the skills and capability to back up her not able to say no.
Yep.
So yes, people just ask her to do things, and she's able to do them.
Yep. She accidentally winds up in a bar that Utako owns, and someone asks her to make a drink, and she just kind of does it, and turns out she's really good at it, and then Utako blackmails her. Also, but the thing was, Hitomi was smart enough to realize, I might be blackmailed, so I have a recording, and then falls for the second stage of the blackmail.
Yeah.
So
you're clever, but not clever enough.
Yep. You're too trusting, Hitomi.
Way too trusting.
Yeah, so she winds up being a bartender, and of course she's in middle school, and that's really legal. And of course her middle school teacher shows up and then somehow just convinces themselves that's not her because,
I don't want to deal with this.
And she's making money, and her mother's freaking out because, well, where are you going? What's going on?
Yeah, because she runs off often. Every night. Yeah. Her excuse of being at a friend's house for studying it does not really.
And then she told her mom the truth. Her mom didn't believe her.
She's like, no.
Are you prostituting yourself out to these men?
Which is what her school friends thought.
Yep. As well, boy, that was a fun thing.
Oh, that was an episode.
Yeah, and then their mother winds up being on board with it when she's like, oh wow, she made all these connections, because she starts taking on odd jobs to take even more money. So she can afford this place that Taco more or less forced her to sign for.
Yeah, she
I
ended
can't
up
afford to
moving
live here.
out
Well, just
of
take
her
more
house.
jobs.
Just take more jobs. She ends up getting these tons of jobs and huge amounts of money, which is an interesting point because they pair her with Anzu a lot.
Yep.
So we have this middle school kid who has a ton of jobs and is making
Bank.
boatloads of money next to formerly homeless, also homeless and then formerly homeless, Anzu,
Yep.
who is excited over the prospect of, 5,000 yen.
Yep. But yeah, the thing. Yeah, so Tomi makes all these connections. Like all these people, I will hire her as soon as possible. Like she can be an executive someday easily. And her mother's
Yep.
just so impressed. Like, okay. And Tomi was expecting her mother to just
She was invited her mom
do it.
to her housewarming party, expecting her mom to go, "What the hell is all of this? She's still in middle school," and ruin it all.
Mm-hmm.
Wanted it so that she could become a normal kid again, but no.
That
She
backfired.
didn't even get that.
That backfired.
Her
And also, her mom is tiny.
mom is real short.
Tiny person. Guess, yeah, Hitomi's taller than her mother right there. And she's in middle school, so that tells you enough right there. Yeah, so Hitomi goes through some stuff. Keeps getting caught up in stupid stuff, including also the, going the TV thing and all sorts of crazy nonsense. It's just frustrating.
Yep.
Apparently her, apparently her character goes places in the manga.
Oh?
Yeah, big, crazy places. I.e., pretty much owning a company. Places.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And the thing is, apparently her personality starts to shift as this happens, too.
She gets very mature.
Yeah, because she starts off as kind of plain, if we're going to be real. She's kind of like someone who's just trying to keep her head down and just get through life. Yeah, apparently she starts to, she starts to change after, not only in the manga, in the anime, but in the manga as well. She tries to change even further. So that's a thing. Yeah, there's that. And Mao is weird because apparently she's somewhat, or at least she views herself as friends with Hina and Anzu, although Anzu apparently says she never had friends before, which means Anzu never saw her as a friend, which is like, ow.
Oh.
And Hina probably even realizes Mao exists. Probably not even sure.
Yeah.
Because the other thing. But Mao considers those two her friends, and she gets, there's that whole thing where she's got stuck on the deserted island and starts talking to coconuts, because,
It was, the whole episode was a reference to Castaway.
Pretty much. Somewhat, yeah.
It was Castaway, right?
Yeah. The one with Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks and
Wilson.
Wilson. When the coconuts fell, it's like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she's using her psychic powers to animate them. Eventually gives them bodies as well, and then she freaks out because you're not real.
You're not real.
She has her freak out after a point.
After almost, it was like 200 something days.
Yep.
Out on the island by herself.
Yep. Then she builds a raft and leaves.
She builds a raft.
Winds up in China.
Yep. That's one thing with her powers. She didn't have to struggle like Tom Hanks did.
Nope.
You didn't have to deal with wind and trying to time it right to get through the waves. You just use your powers to just go.
Fishing, just lift the fish out of the water.
Yeah.
Real easy.
Yeah.
So she winds up in China and winds up being more or less part of a scam, it looks like, to get people to sign up for some bogus kung fu thing.
Martial arts bogus thing. To those who don't have powers.
Yep. And she then is able to cheat her way out of that. Beat the robot. Okay. And she just stops it with her. And then she even the little thing, she slightly adjusts her pose so it looks more like she actually stopped it with her hands and whatnot.
Yep.
Whoop. And she's still a little off kilter apparently because she made new versions of Hina and Anzu and kept talking to them despite the fact she now has people around her. Apparently that whole island thing left a bit of a mark on her, which is not surprising.
Not surprising. Almost a year by yourself.
Well, especially when you're like 13 or 14 years old. That would really mess you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now that's how it ends, with her leaving China and going to Japan to find Hina, because that's her whole thing. And, well, at this point, they'd be in high school because it's 3 years later at that point.
Yep.
So, yeah, everyone would be in high school at least, so there's that. But, yeah, there's a lot of funny stuff, just weird, just dialogue exchanges and whatnot, and then sometimes you get that, oh, you know where it's going, but it's like, oh no,
Oh no. Yeah.
oh no. I think one of my favorite bits is when Nita gets promoted in the Yakuza thing, and Hina wants to celebrate, so she gets advice about it, and she kind of understands the advice, but isn't able to make it all come together properly, especially like, I can't get alcohol, so I'll just fill these bottles of water. I can't get a cake, or got to make a cake.
Yeah.
And she does that out of salt and strawberries. Sure. Anyway, she does, and gets a photo of him and everything, and then winds up looking like a funeral, and Nita's freaking out because what? And of course, you got to surprise him, so she comes out of the box very slowly,
with her arms kind of up.
This is the cutest surprise boo ever.
It was so precious.
Yep.
It totally was.
And then she's kind of they're staring at each other, and then she just kind of like defeated. Congratulations, your promotion to lieutenant. She realized she screwed up.
It's the thought that counts.
Yep.
And she put a lot of thought and effort in it.
Nita even realized that because he's like, he thanks her and everything, smiling.
Yeah. At least the flowers were okay.
Yep, the flowers are okay.
The whole thing looked like a funeral.
Yep. Yeah, there's just a lot of just weird and funny situations, mostly built off misunderstandings, but...
Oh, yeah.
Are you insulting me? No, seriously, are you insulting me? Yeah, it's just a lot of good... Hina got kicked out because Nita's just sick of her crap. She broke another vase.
Yeah.
Kicked her out. So she's trying to... So Anzu takes her in. After 3 days, kicks her out too because she's just useless.
Yeah, especially when
eating all her food.
Yeah. Every day is a struggle.
Yep.
And you have something like that freeloading.
Yep. And then Hina winds up meeting up with some street performers and helping them out, combining their rock music with her magic. So, hey, look, she can do stuff there that makes it crazy, and then she gets enough money that she quits their band because I got to go back home, and she uses the money to buy Nita another vase, and even though it's like, a cheap
one instead of an expensive one.
It becomes being a proud center of his collection because, well, she bought it for him as an apology and everything. Oh.
Yep. Of course, it wasn't before Nita just got lambasted by everyone else for, you abandoned your daughter?
You kicked her out?
You kicked her out?
Or the BS story he was trying to spin to his family about where she came from.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's just so much funny stuff. It also has some really good heartwarming bits as well. So it's like it knows where to put those and balance it out really well.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of funny stuff with Hitomi just because her just...
Jeez. One thing I noticed, especially with Hitomi, the animation they do with the faces whenever they're surprised is really focused on this tongue thing.
Yeah, that thing.
It's kind of weird. Hitomi does it a lot. It's just weird, mouth open, tongue kind of elevated halfway in the mouth, sticking out. And it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird. And in the way they stylize like the faces and such when they do those moments.
Oh, yeah.
Everything kind of goes dark and heavily shaded and adds a lot. Yep. Very dramatizes those almost still frames.
Well, one of the things was when he did the interview with the reporter, and he manipulates all the footage, and then his brother and his boss both watch it, and they make fun of him for it, and then he runs off crying.
Yeah. And what's the best part about that whole scene is when he runs back home and Hina does the same thing.
Boy. Yeah.
Oh, another little thing that I noticed. Hina's t-shirt.
Yep.
Hina's shirt.
Constantly
it always has words on it, and it's always changing. It always fits what the scene. Like the scene where she's, oh, and that's also a really heartwarming scene too. When she's trying to say to Nita, that she's going home.
Yeah.
In order, and she doesn't want to say it. It's really hard for her to say it. Obviously, she doesn't really want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Her shirts say like "bye-bye" and "sayonara"
Yep.
and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh man, Hina's response when she's having a hard time saying something is apparently to float in the air and spin.
Yep.
Yeah, I wish I could do that.
And there's the thing, yeah, for a while, Nita has a crush on Utuko and is trying to ask her out constantly, and then finally goes out with her, and then she turns him down because she thinks he's a divorced single father. She's like, I ain't ready for that. And but yeah, then as time goes on, it's like, why did I even like her in the first place? Because like she's super self-centered.
Yeah.
Interesting. What's also interesting there is the OP, and there's the end scene of the OP. Initially had both Nita and Utuko there, but after that when he was turned down, they removed her from that part.
Interesting. Huh.
Yep. And then even later, they readjusted so he's now center of the frame rather than off to the side.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, oh. And even in the ED, the big old bar scene at the end of the ED, she was removed from that as well. Yeah, so they, little things like that. And although the episode where Hina was where he kicked Hina out, it's ended with her not in the ED anymore.
Aw, yeah.
Stuff like
it's
that.
It's interesting how they make the little adjustments like that as they go forward.
Oh yeah, no. Then at the end of the anime, Hina winds up revealing to Hitomi and the two boys in her class that she has powers.
Oh yes, because I love Nita's response when because they're all out on a field trip kind of a thing, a school ski lesson trip thing, and they call him because it's hard. I don't know how to say this, but they've gone missing in the mountains.
Yep,
and Nita's response is just,
"Oh yeah,
huh?
Oh yeah,
oh yeah." And I'm just like thinking, what my response would have been, it'd be like, well, I hope you find her, but honestly, that's pretty expected.
Yeah, because that was right after he took care of Anzu for the couple days.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, well, she's not coming back, I guess. Oh,
well. I guess that's that.
But then, of course, she does wind up back, and he's there, when she's in the hospital, recovering from all that, and he's there.
Because he does care, I guess. Yeah, because we see that, I think the first time I think it was the episode where he kicks her out. He sits down for dinner. One of the episodes where she's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He sits down for dinner and realizes, oh, kind of something missing now, isn't there?
Yep. But of course, no, it's fine. It's fine. Oh yeah, the other thing, which is early on taking her to a girly club because she wanted to see it.
That whole, it's not even a scene, it's multiple. It's like this whole act of the trip that just builds and gets worse and worse. Because Hitomi even gets involved in that.
Yeah.
Hitomi gets wrapped up in all.
Why am I even here? Poor Hitomi.
Poor Hitomi.
Yeah, there's let's see, because that was there's a whole thing they're telling him that they don't see him as much anymore, and turns out it's because he's always spending time taking care of Hina, and then he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, and Hina's like, well, I'm gonna go with you this time. He's like, okay,
crap. Whatever.
At first he's like, sure, because I think at this point he's pretty drunk. He's kind of getting drunk.
Yeah, he was very drunk by the end of it.
And no one really questioned the fact there was like a teenage middle schooler in a girly club, but whatever. Yep. 2 middle schoolers.
2, yes.
Utuko was there too.
And the whole, yeah. And they like, can we get a champagne fountain?
We don't do that here.
No, can you just call one? And then Nita just does. And they get a champagne fountain, and they have Hina use her powers to do the pouring.
It's an illusion.
It's okay. It's just an illusion because they're all drunk.
It's a fun time. It's a really fun time, honestly. The only thing is, now I actually need to probably check out the manga, probably, because boy, they did leave you. Yeah, because one of the other things was like, apparently Hina had to be wear a collar, which probably restricted her powers, but which probably what led to the destruction, that city destruction. Because apparently that's also, according to What's-Her-Face, that's also when her collar got destroyed. But apparently she was told that if she misused her powers or something, the collar would rip her head off.
Yeah, it would blow her head off. It was like I've seen that trope used before in other media.
Yep.
An explosive collar that if you misbehave, it decapitates you.
Yep.
But apparently she doesn't realize it's gone.
Yep. And I kind of like wondered, man, they really messed her up.
Mm-hmm.
They messed all these kids up, didn't they? So it makes you wonder what's going on over in this other place or whatever it's going on.
Either world or timeline or whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah. Because it's strange. Because they have a lot of the understanding of some things, including what Japan is and China is and stuff, but other stuff is like completely foreign to them.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Although it's the kids are very ignorant of the world.
Yeah.
But the one adult we see wasn't.
Yeah.
So it's like, how much of that is completely different world that doesn't have the same things, or the kids just don't know because they've never experienced it, because they've never been allowed. They've been locked in a cage and just told to do things their entire life.
Yep. It's a bit strange of a setup, but it works out.
It does. It does work. They don't explain anything about the organization, but for what's in the anime, nothing of the organization really needs to be explained.
Oh yeah, there's also there was the girl who found out about Hina's powers. Oh
yes, that one.
Boy.
And she ended up, oh, I want to learn, okay. And she couldn't do it, and Hina just did it for her and made her think that she has powers.
Yeah. And then she decided to show her the class, I got superpowers.
And it didn't work because Hina was asleep.
Yep.
And she tried and then just
left.
Walked out and didn't
no one ever saw her again for 2 days.
Yep. It's like, I know that feeling. You do something embarrassing, and it's just like, I don't want to be here anymore.
I'm just gonna leave. Not even an apology, just walks away.
Just walks out the door.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here, and it's really fun. And I was really not expecting it when I watched it initially, but it's a fun time.
The episode where the classmates find out about Hitomi and the teacher.
Oh yeah.
At the bar.
Yep.
That whole thing, and they bring Hina in, who does nothing, and the whole time she's like, what's going on?
What?
I don't know what's going on.
What's going on? She says, hey, what's going on? No one's paying attention to her at all.
Yep.
I don't understand.
And the one student seems to have some interest.
Yeah. Her name's Izawa.
Seems to have some interest.
A little bit of his interest in Hitomi. A little bit, maybe?
A little bit, yeah.
So.
I like the scene at the top of the stairs where they go, quote, go their separate directions. Yep. The two guys walk down the stairs, and she turns away and walks to the closed locked door that can't go through, so has to turn around and walk the same way. It's like,
yep. You had your dramatic storm off. Unfortunately, you're going in the same direction.
Yep.
Crap.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff in here. It's pretty darn funny. It's got some good heartwarming moments as well. And you wind up pretty much caring about a lot of these characters.
Yep.
In some way or another.
Even if, like, Mao is, the most interesting to me, and Anzu needs to be protected and cherished. She is pure and must be protected. Even Hina is really interesting too. There's enough to her that she's a good character. They're very different.
Feed me. Definitely recommend checking this out for sure if you haven't
Definitely. Already. It was a lot of fun.
Now I'm going to also look into seeing how I can read the manga.
Yeah, and let me know. That'll be interesting. Yeah, especially if there's more Mao in there.
I believe that's more or less it for this episode.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoyed. If you want to check out other episodes, past or future, you can go to newtoweeaboo.libsyn.com, spelled Libsyn. There you can go subscribe to the RSS feed there, or you can check on some of the links at the top of the page there, which will take you to the various destinations including iTunes, Google Play, although that's being discontinued, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. You can search for New to Weeaboo in any of those and subscribe to any of those places and, keep up to date if you want. You can also email us at newtoweeaboo@gmail.com if you have questions, comments, anime recommendations, whatever. If you do have one, we might take a month or two to get to it because
we have a bit of a backlog.
Schedule. We have a schedule. And also there might just be logistical problems sometimes of just, I gotta find, possibly, I don't want to have to hunt this stupid thing down for a week.
Oh, you're recommending us a really good anime, but it's only available on VHS tapes. It can only be imported from this. Yeah, that might be a little difficult to do.
Just, stuff like that. What do you think of Hinamatsuri? I don't know.
Yes, let us know.
Of course, you could also follow us on Twitter at newtoweeaboo. Follow us there, retweet, likes, all that stuff. See us, tweet out new episodes that come out, or just kind of random things like, hey, yeah, it turns out Hinamatsuri is actually kind of better than I remembered it being. I remember liking it initially, but I actually like it a lot more now I watched it the second time. Of course, you can also follow our personal Twitters. I'm at Nemesis Prime 1, and he's at Alcatraz with a 77T and an underscore at the end. Mostly Transformer stuff for me, again, because I review those a lot.
That is your thing.
Including new ones, new reviews coming pretty soon, hopefully. You just retweet pictures and complain about your car.
Yes, I love my car, but I don't.
So it's brakes. So you're Nita and your car is Hina.
Not quite, but I see the similarities. Yeah.
Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Tune in next time. We'll be talking about Mobile Suit Gundam.
Oh.
Sort of. I'll explain that more when we get there. But till then, take care, guys, and we'll see you next time. So goodbye.
See ya.